Hey everybody, it's Kaylee and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be going over what sold from last week on the sites that I sold on. Spoiler alert, I only sold on eBay and Poshmark last week, but I did have some pretty decent sales considering it was a holiday week. So let's jump in and I will show you some highlighted sales.
All right, so these sales are going to be from last week, which was Christmas week. It was December 20th through December 26th. Typically leading up to Christmas, I usually have pretty good sales, but they tend to drop off as we get closer to the actual holiday. And as I suspected, on Christmas Eve and Christmas, there really wasn't a lot of activity going on any of the platforms that I sell on. However, I did have a couple decent enough sales throughout the week leading up to that. Which helped make what I consider a pretty decent sales week, which I am super thankful for. So I only sold on two platforms, like I mentioned, eBay and Poshmark. I sold a total of 47 items, and my total gross sales were $1,868.25, making an average sale price of $39.75 and a total cost of goods of $261.69. My total cost of goods has gone up a little bit here recently, especially with some of the more higher priced items that are selling. Some of those I did pay up for, which I've been mentioning in some of my videos. But with that also comes an increased average sale price, which hopefully as you've been watching over the last few months, it has started gradually increasing. And so where I was in the 20s, now I'm in the 30s, and now I am trying to get past that hump over into the 40s and really make it worth my time to pick up items. On eBay, I sold 29 items, and on Poshmark, I sold 18. eBay's gross sales were $1,363.25, and on Poshmark, they were just $505. We are going to start by showing some highlighted sales from eBay. All right, this is kind of something a little different than what I normally do because I don't usually pick up hard goods, and when I do, I'm pretty particular on what I pick up. I'm still learning hard goods, but it is a category that I really do want to get better at. These have actually been sitting in my death pile. I picked these up at an estate sale last year, and I just got them listed. Shame on me because they sold relatively quickly once I did get them listed for a really great amount. They sold for my full asking price for $250, and the buyer did pay shipping. So these they're called German Asta, and I was able to tell that by some of the information on the handles and on the back of the pot, which said Asta, and after doing a couple quick researches with the words like floral and cast iron, I was able to figure out that this is called German Asta, which there's not a lot of out there. And in particular, mine were in really great condition, and I had a set, which in cookware always adds value. So these were cast iron, super heavy with enamel coating, and they also came with their lids. One of the lids, this one actually fits the other pot, so it was technically a pretty complete set. So like I said, I've had these collecting dust for about a year, and I finally got them listed. Originally, collectively at this estate sale, I ended up paying a total of about $65 for the whole set, and I ended up selling them for my full asking price, $250. So if you come across really heavy duty cookware, it can be worth a lot. And if you can get it in sets, it can be worth even more and even more desirable. Next is this Zara women's denim fringe jacket. I love picking up Zara, but especially really unique items tend to do better for me, as well as larger sizes. Usually when I find Zara, it's an extra small and small. This one was an A size large. I've had a lot of attention on this item on all platforms, and I'm glad that it finally sold. But full disclosure, I am still waiting on the buyer to pay for this, so we'll see if that happens. So I had this listed at $63.70, and it ended up selling for an offer for $57.33. These next two are a couple items where I don't recommend keeping an eye out for this brand, but rather just this style in general. So oftentimes I will pick up items if they are rare, unique, or have a desirable, wacky color scheme to them, regardless of brand. Definitely don't pick up casual corner often, but I could not say no to this. It was so interesting and very on trend. These mixed prints, the multicolor, it all had a lot going for it. Very bohemian, so I picked it up, and it did sell really quickly. It sold on an offer for $34.98. Along those same lines, I picked up this Stuart mural, which I really don't know that brand, but again, I picked it up because of the multicolor print and the very uniqueness of this item, which I also thought was very bohemian and on trend. And I have this listed for $29.87, and it did end up selling at my full asking price, and this was actually an international sale. Next is this J. Jill women's corduroy jacket. I think corduroy is definitely coming back into style, so I would recommend, if you do see corduroy items, maybe taking a look at comps, because depending on the item you've got, it might be worth more. J. Jill is one of my bread and butter brands, and when I find substantial pieces in this brand, I tend to look them up. This was also new with tags, and it had a pretty good retail value. Had this listed at $39.87, and it did sell at my full asking price. Here's another one of those Mario Caldi sweaters. I've mentioned before in some other what sold videos where these have sold, but I picked up a good handful of these at the same thrift store. They must have come from the same person, and they were almost all 100% cashmere. And when I finally looked up this brand with the cashmere, I saw that comps were pretty good, and I listed all of them for about $50. So I had this one listed at $49.99, and it did sell at my full asking price. Highly recommend doing comps on basically anything 100% cashmere as long as there are no holes. Next is a very surprising item. I found this at a thrift store and originally picked it up because the tag was very simple, which in my opinion sometimes can mean a higher value item. And it also felt very thick and very quality, as well as the waffle knit thermal material, which I think is really trendy right now. So I looked up basically fog thermal shirt and found out that this is a pretty rare item. There aren't very many listed. As many as were listed have sold, so it has a really good sell-through rate. There's just not many of them out there, and this was actually something sold at PacSun, which is a really desirable item, I guess. So if you come across fog, or it's also called Fear of God thermal shirts, definitely pick them up. This one I have listed at $49.99, and it sold at my full asking price, which in my opinion is pretty good for something that is pre-owned and was sold at PacSun. Next is another men's brand that I highly recommend you look out for. This is called Marine Layer, and they sell pretty basic pieces, but they are very high quality. This one was made of Pima cotton, which in my opinion is more desirable than just regular cotton. So if you come across anything Pima cotton, you might want to look it up. They don't sell for a ton, but they have a really outstanding sell-through rate, so you can flip it pretty quickly and make a couple bucks. This one is just a plain v-neck t-shirt. I had it listed for $24.99, and it did sell at my full asking price. And next is this cool men's Ryder forged iron pants. Ryder was the style name, and we found that information on the pocket on the inside. This is definitely a brand I recommend picking up. I almost always pick it up. This is the little logo that you can look out for in case the tag is missing. In my opinion, men's items in this brand do better than women's, but the women's still do pretty good, so I would personally pick up both. This was a pretty substantial piece. I had it listed for $44.87, and it ended up selling on an offer for $40.38. Occasionally, I do pick up jewelry, and I wanted to show this one because this is one I actually picked up recently. So this is just an express costume jewelry necklace. And what I look for in necklaces are things that are trendy and things that make a statement if it's costume jewelry. Occasionally I do come across like real gold or real silver, but it's very rare and I'm not an expert in it. So I tend to focus on just costume jewelry on anything that sticks out to me and again is kind of more of a statement piece. And this and a bracelet sold for $49.49. So about $25 for each piece. And last item on eBay before we jump on over to Poshmark was this Erin Moore zip fisherman cable knit sweater, which was made out of merino wool. Whenever I see any brand with ARAN in it, and it's made in Ireland. It's typically a brand worth picking up, and usually they make wool, merino wool, or cashmere sweaters. And I've talked about this in keywords videos, but cable knit definitely adds value. And when it's all over cable knit like this, I tend to use the keyword fisherman when it's got all over cable knit detail, and I think that helps bring the right buyer. I have this one listed for $39.99. Someone offered $30, which I accepted. And moving on over to Poshmark and showing you some of those sales, I sold this Surrey La Paz women's alpaca military bomber jacket. I felt this felt really heavy and high quality, so I took a closer look at it. It appeared to be made out of alpaca, made in Bolivia. Definitely seemed like a vintage piece and just really unique with the construction of the item. Seemed like an oversized crop jacket. So I took a shot on this. I listed high and was accepting offers, and it ended up selling, to my surprise, pretty quickly for $45 on an offer. Next is this Floret, which was sold at Anthropologie, silk floral sheath dress. Picked this up because it was Anthropologie. It seemed very unique and it had a lot of work in it. So it had some sheer details, some really pretty floral detail, and then the waistband itself had some stitch work as well. All in all, I thought it was a pretty desirable item, and it ended up selling pretty high at $53. This is an item I come across pretty often, and I almost always pick them up as long as I can get them at a good cost. It is the Express women's Portofino top, and you'll be able to tell that it is the Portofino top because it actually says it right underneath the tag. They convert, they have a roll tab sleeve, so you can roll them up and button them here to make them more of a 3/4 or a half sleeve. These do have a really great sell-through rate. Some of them sell for a lot lower than this, 15 to 20 bucks, I would say. But if you come across a more unique color, or some of them have like floral prints or different kinds of prints, some of those can be more unique and you can actually demand a higher price. I thought that this one was a more unique color, so I listed higher, and it sold for $30. This brand is 3.1 by Philip Lim, which is a designer. You want to be careful with this brand because there was a collab with Target, so any of them that say for Target or with Target, I would pass on those. But Philip Lim in general does make some quality items. There's not a huge sell-through rate, and I don't think the resale value is there for everything. But if you have a quality item and it is a more modern piece, like I thought this one was, I think it can bring you some good profits. So I picked this one up because of the merino wool and because of the houndstooth print. This one ended up selling for $50. These are a pair of Fabletics leggings. I was able to find the style name. They were called the Heathered Wind Power Hold Capri leggings. And I think it is really important for a lot of these athletic wear brands that you find the exact style name, because you can actually ask for more if you can find the exact style name, because there are people that are looking for this exact style. You can do that by looking up the style number on Google along with the brand name. These are also in a great size, in a size large, and they sold for $24. Not super high profit, but I feel like one you could come across pretty often. This brand is one I almost always pick up. It's called Title 9. This was a bright green knit mini dress, and this one sold for $27. I have really good luck with Title 9 dresses, as well as some other pieces by them, but in particular, the dresses seem to do pretty well in this brand. And lastly was this Polo Sport Ralph Lauren men's reversible vest. So it had the fleece lining and then the nylon lining, and depending on which way you wanted to wear it, could be worn on the yellow side or the blue side. The yellow side did have a couple spots, which I made sure to mention. And so I chose my cover photo as what I thought was the more desirable side. This ended up selling pretty quickly at $30.
Alright guys, so that is it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. Please consider subscribing if you are not already, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up on your way out if you did like this content. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.